Hi, I'm Jeff Achen from This Week Live, and I'm sitting here with jazz keyboardist and musical director Brian Simpson here at the Burnsville Jazz Festival. Thanks for sitting down with us, taking a little bit of time to talk before you go on tonight. Well, why don't you tell our audience, just for the people who are watching this, especially for our local audience, tell us about your start. How did you get your musical start and your solo career start?
Well, I came from a family that really appreciated music and jazz in particular. So it was only natural that I would be interested in being a musician. We all had to learn an instrument, and I got the piano. So upon having private lessons and going to college, I graduated from Northern Illinois University. I decided to move to Los Angeles and just take a stab at this business. I didn't know anyone when I got there. I literally was looking in want ads for gigs for jazz pianist or R&B keyboard player. So that's a very humble beginning in Los Angeles, and it took a few years, but I finally got a big break and got a chance to audition for Tina Marie, the singer, and got that audition. And once that started, I just kept working. Went on to work with Sheena Easton, and did that for about 3 or 4 years, and got a chance to audition for George Duke and Stanley Clarke. And that's when I was able to work with a lot more jazz artists, because George was so connected and so
A lot of doors open for you.
well, he's so respected in the industry. Once if I said, "Oh, I played with George Duke," he was like, "Oh, you got to be good." So that was pretty much it.
And for the last 10 years, you've been a musical director for Dave Koz.
Yeah.
Has that shaped a lot of your career, being a musical director, as opposed to a keyboardist yourself and a musician?
Yeah, it's kind of was a natural progression. I had played the same role as music director, actually, for Sheena Easton as well. It's something typically lands in the lap of a keyboardist, because we're dealing with chords and harmonies and can work with singers and typically read music fairly well. So what that encompasses is often as simple as just running a rehearsal for the artist if the artist isn't there or something. So in the case of Dave Koz, it's meant a lot of things, because Dave also started working on the jazz cruises, so that my role as music director transcended to that position as well, to the high seas. So I've been doing the jazz cruises for the last 5 years as well.
Well, the jazz cruises, you said you've collaborated with and/or toured with Everett Harp, Gerald Albright, George Duke, Bonnie James. You're living the dream in some people's eyes, I'm sure. What's been the most exciting part for you of your career, I guess, in the music industry?
I didn't know this before I started doing it, but traveling and meeting people, especially in foreign countries, that have already heard my music, and to know that you've touched someone in any kind of way, made them happy for a few moments, or just knowing I've met people that have fallen in love to my CDs or my music. It's an amazing feeling, and I would have to say I can't imagine a better feeling than that, than knowing that you've created some kind of artwork that actually affected someone's life in a positive way.
Great. What convinced you to come here then to the jazz festival here in Burnsville? Kind of a smaller jazz festival, and you've been to some big name places. What convinced you to come in here? And don't say the money, right?
Well, no. Well, the good news is I have a booking agent, and he gets me work all over the world. In May, I went to London and played for a week in a jazz club. I'm leaving in about 2 weeks to go to Munich, Germany for a jazz festival there.
Right.
So I say, why not Burnsville? So no, it's great, and it's funny. As soon as I landed in the airport, I got a ride from the promoter, a friend of the promoters, and I was such a great welcome from that guy. And then everyone I have met here has been so wonderful. I said, these are really nice people in this town. And I come from the Midwest myself, so I feel very much at home.
Right, good. And so you mentioned already some faraway places you've been touring. Now, were you at the Java Jazz Festival in Jakarta, Indonesia? Is that right? And then also in the Dubai Jazz Festival, and that was with Dave Koz?
Yeah.
You said Munich, Germany. Where else is your tour taking you? What's your next stop after this?
Actually, I'm going to go with Dave Koz and Jonathan Butler to Tokyo, Japan in October for a week, and that'll be my last foreign trip of this year, I believe. But yeah, every year is filled with surprises. You know, I love, like I said, knowing that you've touched people in other countries and getting a chance to travel and to perform for people all over the world. It it is a dream job. It really is the best part for me. You know, I tell young musicians that, you know, if you're getting in this business to get rich, you're really in it for the wrong reason, because the odds are that's not going to happen. And I certainly never did it for that. I just love music. I love making music, and the fact that I can make a decent living at it has been just incredible.
Great. Well, I mean, with the colorful list of places that you've got going for you, it seems very lucky and fortunate to have you here, so thank you very much for coming here. One last question I want to ask you, you know, your song It's All Good was a #1 song on the Smooth Jazz Radio nationwide for 6 weeks, and that was back in 2006. On your latest release, What You Gonna Do reached the top 10 on Smooth Jazz Radio nationwide last year, right? Fans obviously have their favorites. What's your favorite song on your repertoire?
Ooh. I would say, and this is, I often tell people in the shows that track number 4 on Above the Clouds, my last CD, is a very romantic song, I guess you would say. And I tell people, if you get the CD, go home and put track 4 on, even if you're by yourself. It works every time. And it's just, I guess deep down I'm a romantic guy, and I love the fact that, remember how I said I like the fact that my music can move people? Well, I think that song probably would have the most emotional impact with people.
A favorite of yours to perform as well?
Yeah, I love doing it. I love doing it.
Okay, well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me, talk with us here in our audience, and for being part of the 2009 Burnsville Jazz Festival. Thanks a lot.